Hey guys, and welcome back to Monka, where stupid shit ensues, but the end of 2022 has come. It actually came 3 months ago, so I'm late to this video, but 2022 drew to a conclusion about 3 months ago, so I decided that I was going to make the best game that I played in 2022, or the video for best game that I played in 2022. Now, I made one of these in 2021. It was pretty loaded. I had a lot of content for that video. Talked about a lot of games that I enjoyed with the winner for the year, and then I talked about a bunch of games that I did not like with my least favorite game of the year as well. This year is going to be a bit different because honestly it was kind of a different year than what 2021 was. I feel like I played a hell of a lot more games in 2021 than I did in 2022. I think in 2022 I played around 15 to 16 games, I believe. That's estimating, but I did not play a lot of games, to be honest. So this year, instead of doing a whole shit ton of runner-ups with a favorite and then doing a whole shit ton of runner-ups with a least favorite, I'm just going to do 2 runner-ups for my favorite game and then my favorite game of the year. I'm not going to do my worst game of the year because honestly I don't really have a game that I hated this year like I did Poison Control, which I really didn't like, but I really didn't have a game in 2022 that I despised playing, you know. I played Back 4 Blood, which wasn't a great game, but you know, it wasn't the worst game ever and it wasn't like so terrible. It was just an alright game, so I can't really put that on the worst game because it would be unfair to that. Melmac Zeno, while it wasn't the most amazing game that I played in 2022, it wasn't anything horrific. Sure, it wasn't amazing and there were a lot of flaws to that game, but it also wouldn't be fair to put that game on the list for the worst games I played in 2022 because it wasn't a terrible game. It was just a very, very mediocre game. But in terms of that, I'm just going to be doing a best of, essentially. I have 2 runner-ups for my best game, and then I have my best game of the year. Honest to God, it did take me 3 months to sit on this because immediately I had 2 runner-ups for the best game locked in immediately, and then I kind of had to debilitate on the third one. But really what was going to win best game of the year took a long time because it was really competing between 2 games that were like neck and neck, and it took me a long time, a lot of soul searching to figure out which game really was my favorite of 2022. But without further ado, let's just get into it, shall we? So my first runner-up, and what I would consider, I guess, to be my 3rd favorite game of the year that I played, was Crystar. Kind of a surprise, to be honest, because I feel like in my video maybe I griped a lot about this game, but really it's not all that bad of a game. Like I said in the video, it's Vesperia developed, published by NIS. It's an action RPG, and a lot of my complaints with this game I felt like were with the combat, which I enjoyed, but it was pretty janky, to be honest. And honestly, the game has some kind of boring dungeons, to be honest, but the music and the story were really, really good, and the characters were also really, really strong in this game. I feel like that's what really carried this game, was the story and characters, and really just made for a really enjoyable experience that honestly, even compared to some other games that could be arguably be better, like Tales of Vesperia, this one really sat in the back of my mind for a while, and I thought about it for a while. So honestly, this was a really good game. People did gripe about the combat and the dungeons being linear. You know, combat's clunky, the dungeons are uninteresting. I could put up with it, and you know, I enjoyed the combat enough. Yes, I agree, it wasn't the most polished combat I've ever played in an action RPG, but I still thought it was fine. Now, with that all being said, yeah, it's not the most amazing game I've ever played, but as well, it does have a indirect sequel coming in the form of Cry Machina, which is coming out in fall of 2023. A real surprise, to be honest, that this game will be getting somewhat of a sequel. Hopefully it'll be able to take everything Crystar did right and also improve upon the combat, which combat does look better. I've seen the trailer and it does look like it upgrades the game overall, but my 3rd favorite game of the year was Crystar. Now, number 2 was really, really hard. Honestly, number 1 was really, really hard because these 2 games were neck and neck for a long time, and it was really hard to make the decision. But my 2nd favorite game that I played of 2022 was Tokyo Mirage Sessions #FE, specifically Encore for the Nintendo Switch. Honestly, I have a lot of great things to say about this game. It's Atlas published, I believe Nintendo developed. Honestly, there's a lot of great things about this game. It's not amazing in terms of the story. It's a pretty basic story, but honestly, this is pretty much a Persona Light, and it's awesome in every way, in my opinion. The music is great. The combat is a lot of fun, just like Persona games. The dungeon crawling is a lot of fun, and honestly, the characters really are enjoyable and have a good personality to them. And honestly, it was fun to explore the dungeons, and honestly, it was just fun to walk around Shibuya. So this was a pretty great game in my opinion. Now, the story is pretty forgettable. The characters are tropey. People would have that complaint, you know, it's a tropey-filled game, but honestly, I don't mind that at all. I thought Tokyo Mirage Sessions was a pretty fun game, honestly. If you like Persona games, it's a very enjoyable game. Like I said, it's a Persona Light. It has all the dungeon crawling aspects. The dungeons are more interesting in my opinion than Persona games, and the combat overall is just satisfying and fun, and it's fun to grind in this game. I mean, it's just an enjoyable experience overall. well. So while it does have its flaws and people complain about the fact that it has Fire Emblem in the title and it doesn't have any Fire Emblem elements in it, I really didn't mind that. Obviously, I think I expressed it in my video. I'm not really that big of a Fire Emblem fan, so I really didn't give a shit about all that. But honestly, this is a game that gets a lot of hate, and it really doesn't deserve it because it's just a fun game overall. And honestly, if you're just looking for a fun turn-based RPG, this is it. It's laid back, it's relaxed, it's chill, it's just a good old time overall, honestly. But my second favorite game of the year was Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Now, my favorite game of the year, and the one that for me personally wins the best game that I played in 2022, was Death End Request. I have said a lot about this game, I believe, in my video about Death End Request and in my video about Death End Request 2. I also ranted and raved about the original Death End Request. Look, this is a surprise banger for me. I did not go into this game expecting much, and I just got blown away by it. Everything about this game is awesome, and in my opinion, this is another game that gets a lot of hate, and I don't really know why, because honestly, it's a great game overall. Like, it's a really good game, and honestly, it's a sleeper hit for me. Like, this is a great game, honestly. The story is great. It's an awesome story, honestly. The characters are great as well and have great personalities. It's an enjoyable game for combat, and the music is great. It lacks kind of in the environments department, and honestly, there's no like hub world or anything for you to roam around in. There are some parts of this game that are lacking, I will not lie. It's not a perfect game, but honestly, for the experience I had, I loved the story. I enjoyed it. The music is great, the characters are great, and the combat is very Neptunia-like, but it also has its unique twists on it, which make it really enjoyable. But I feel like I've ranted and raved about this game enough. There's obviously the video that I talked about it, and I just went all over the place, and I gushed about this game in the Death End Request 2 video. But yeah, this is my favorite game of 2022. Honestly, this is a banger. I see no one talking about it, and honestly, it's disappointing that this game doesn't get more love than it should, because it's just a great game overall. Like I said in the video though, if you don't like visual novels, you wouldn't really like this game, but besides that, this is a great game. It tells a great story, has good characters, the combat is fun, and the music is great, to be honest. So honestly, this is an awesome game, and it's my favorite game of 2022. But overall, in terms of 2022, in terms of, I guess, previous years in gaming, this was kind of a weak year for me, to be honest. Even though I played some great games, like I said, I played Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Crystar, and of course Death End Request, which are all great games. And there were some other ones I didn't mention, like Astral Chain and Tales of Vesperia, which were also good games. I feel like it was a weaker year for me in comparison to 2021. I played a lot of games in 2021, and a lot of good games as well. And of course, I played like the game that has fundamentally changed the way I view video games, which is Blue Reflection Second Light. That game is amazing. This year, I didn't really have a Blue Reflection Second Light. I did have Death End Request, which was a great game, but honestly, it doesn't hold a candle to something like Blue Reflection Second Light. But maybe 2022 felt underwhelming because I didn't play as many games as 2021. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe I was expecting more in terms of, you know, the games I played and I just didn't get it. But I don't think 2022 was either a bad year for me as well. I played a lot of good games. I played a lot of longer games, I think maybe was the thing. I think I played a lot of shorter games in 2021, which meant that I played a lot more games than I did in 2022. I played a lot of JRPGs in 2022, and I played a lot of long JRPGs in 2022, which meant I didn't play as many games than maybe I could have if I went for some shorter games, to be honest. But looking forward, we got 2023, and honestly, so far it's been great. I've played about 8 games, about to go on my 9th one. But of course, that is for the I Played videos that will come out throughout 2023, and of course, at the beginning of 2024, I'll release my best of, and probably worst of, because I am probably going to play some bad games in 2023. But for my list of games that I played in 2022, if I had to recommend one, I would recommend Death End Request. But thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you. Stay chill.